Hi, Astrid. Thank you for having me here. It's such a pleasure to be among so many wonderful healers and teachers. My name is Dina. I'm an energy healer, intuitive reader, channel, and spiritual guide. And I help people break out of cycles, whether it's inner blocks, cycles of trauma, connect with their spiritual self, and also connect with the team of their spirit guides so that they have help going through life. Because we're not meant to go through this life alone. When we come to this world, yes, we do come with some baggage from past lives, some baggage from ancestral, but we also come with an incredible team of support. Part of what they do is actually help us move through that baggage so that way we can release it. Specifically in the ancestral healing part, we can release it from our family line so that our children don't have that, and their children don't have that. Astrid, can you put me on the main screen? Because I think I'm not in the presenter screen.
You should be actually in the presenter screen.
Maybe it just looks different.
Yeah. I pinned you in. Yes, you are on the main stage, and Perfect. The floor is yours.
Perfect.
Do you need to share any kind of presentation, or do you have a presentation?
No, I do not have a presentation.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Then the floor is yours.
All right, thank you. A lot of clients come to me saying, Dina, life from the outside looks good. I have great kids, I have a spouse, I have a job, everything is going well. But then there is this weird underlying tension, like I can never relax. It feels like the moment I relax, something is going to go wrong. So I have to always be on. I always have to pay attention to what's happening. There's this tightness in my body, and there's this in the back of my head, these constant thoughts that seem to come out of nowhere. What is it? And when I read their energy, a lot of times what I will see is a lot of energy in their first chakra, which is in the hip area. And what that area is about, it's about our relationship to the society we live in. It's our relationship to the tribe. It's our relationship to the family. So it's our relationship to other people. And when I see energy there, I know that we should go and we should explore what has happened in their life or in the life of their family or even in the life of their culture that has caused this heavy energy to settle in their hip area. It can be causing lower back pain, it can be causing tight hip issues, but it's also causing a survival type of anxiety, like a fight or flight anxiety. So, for example, I had a client, Sarah. She was in her mid-50s at the time, and she said to me exactly what I told you. She said, I just can't relax. Everything is fine, but I can't relax. And when I read her energy, I said, I see something very interesting there. I see a small child who is living a good life. They're playing. Everything is wonderful. Everything is good. And then everything goes wrong. And then I see a group of people in a tight space, and they're all screaming. He said, can you share a little bit about the background of your family? What culture do you come from where your parents were born and grandparents were born? And she said, this is fascinating because all my life I've had a dream of being stuck inside of a cattle car, inside of a train cattle car. And then she shared with me that her parents were Holocaust survivors, and they actually experienced that. And they never talked to her about their experience. So it's not like she was an impressionable young child that could have those images stick in her head and then just become a part of her experience. They never really talked about it. And yet it showed up in her dreams. And she said, yeah, just like in the story about the small child that she told me everything was fine, and then everything was all hell broke loose. That's exactly how I feel. And that's why I can't relax, because somewhere deep inside, that's what it feels like it's going to happen. And I have to pay attention. Otherwise, I'm not going to make it through. And then I had another client, her name was Lynn, and she said, I work hard and I'm learning a lot and I'm putting all my skills to use and I'm doing pretty well, but I can't get out of the cycle of having ends meet at the end of the month. So I'm in abundance in terms of I can pay my bills, but I never have enough. I can never save money. And this one, I knew a little bit about her background. This was a long-term client. But when I read her energy, what I saw was, again, in her first chakra, this incredible pride of having survived. So what that means is that in her maternal line specifically, there were always problems with money, yet they were always able to make ends meet. And at the end of the month, they were excited and happy about the fact that, yes, they made it. And that was their pride, that was their joy, and that was their goal. So it's like this goal that she grew up with, that she observed her mom have, of just having ends meet and that be enough. That goal got stuck in her energy. And so, of course, she was fulfilling the goal that was in her subconscious, which is to make ends meet. And so she was stuck in that cycle, and we worked together with both of these women, specifically on healing the experience of their parents and also grandparents as well. In the first case, healing the experience of the war, and in the second case, healing that experience of always not having enough. And in my own case, I always wondered, ever since I was a child, I myself would have this really visceral reaction to historical movies about the Holocaust. Now, I was born in the Soviet Union, and both sets of my grandparents went through World War II. They were not in the Holocaust directly, but culturally, I'm Jewish, and we all know the horrors that have happened at that time. And my grandparents, they never talked to me about that as well. But I noticed every time I saw those old films, or even when I saw movies about the Holocaust, like the Schindler's List, or even Life is Beautiful, if you remember that one, that was a great film. It's like, it felt like I was going to explode from the inside. All I could do was just not break down in tears. And this was kind of embarrassing because nobody else reacted that way. Everybody, of course, they knew that this was not a pleasant thing to watch, and they knew about history, but it just didn't hit them in the same way as it hit me. And I always wondered about that. I thought maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I'm crazy. And then as I was studying to be an energy healer, as I was learning about connection with spirit, about ancestral work, I realized that this pain that was being triggered was the pain that was passed down to me through my bloodline, through generations, and not just through the experience of my grandparents, but also through the entire 2,000 years of cultural persecution for the Jewish people. And even though my life has been pretty good, I've had loving parents, I grew up in a safe space. I was very lucky. And yet, culturally and ancestrally, there was always this tension, this pain, this fear. When I realized that this was not mine, that this did not belong to me, this was actually an incredible revelation of freedom. Because even though, yes, it was passed down to me, even though, yes, it is in my energy body, it's not mine. And being not mine, meaning having not gone through that experience with this body, this type of energy was fairly easy to clear. And the way to clear it is to go back and to send love and healing to those ancestors that have suffered. And you don't have to know exactly who those ancestors were. Sometimes I've seen family trauma go back many, many generations. They've never met those people. I see this a lot in my clients of Irish descent whose ancestors came to the US during the 19th century, during the potato famine. It was not easy for them. And I also see with them specifically, in their first chakra, I also see a lot of energy there, and it has to do with issues of worthiness. And again, we look back at their family history and we see the struggle, we see the pain that they went through, and this pain got transferred to them. Now, this field that I'm talking about is actually very well known in science. It's called epigenetics. Epigenetics talks about how genes express themselves. And the idea is that, yes, we have genes, physical genes that are passed to us through our parents, but we also have energy or memories of experiences that our family members, those who share our blood, experienced before us. We also have this big database that gets passed down to us. And this is a beautiful thing because this is a gift that nature gave us that helps us survive. Imagine if we were just born a blank slate without all this wisdom, without all this knowledge that comes to us from the past. We would have fewer tools to deal with life. Now, at the same time, we would also have fewer problems. But all of these things, they're part of us, they're part of our heritage, but they don't have to stay the way that they were given to us. Because even though the biology creates us in a way so the experience of the past does get passed down to us so that we're better able to survive, what nature doesn't always think about, so to speak, is that things change, situations change, and the traumas and the pain that the ancestors in the past have went through, they're not necessarily our current experience. Our body doesn't know that. We have to teach our body that. And so when we learn about our family history, and not just our immediate family, but also culturally, we can often draw parallels about how we feel and how we react, especially automatically and subconsciously. We can draw a parallel between what happened to our family members, our community members in the past, and how we're feeling today. And when we're seeing this incongruity, especially when we're seeing this incongruity in our current experience, where everything is fine, yet we don't feel like things are fine, that's our clue that we have found a part of ourselves that is ready to be healed, that is ready to be let go of. And what I always see in people who come to me for ancestral healing, whether they know that they're here to heal their family trauma, or they're here for an unexplained reason, and we find out that it has to do with family trauma. I lost my train of thought as I was taking a drink. So let me back up. When we discover that our life or how we want to live our life now does not match with how we feel with this internal dialogue and monologue, And when we look back at our family history and we can draw parallels between how we feel and how life was for those who came before us, and it doesn't match with our current life, we know that we're here to release it. And what I also see, this is where I was going. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. What I also see in people is a soul contract. And this is important to understand. So many of us now have come with a soul contract, which is an agreement that our soul has made before incarnating into this specific body about things that it's going to do. And one of the big things I see in the contract is the idea and the agreement that we are here to stop the pain. The pain stops with us. So whatever came before us, even though it got passed down to us through our DNA and is in our blood, we have agreed to stop it. And so that our children and the children of their children don't experience it. And this is how we change society overall. This is very powerful work. It's not just work to help us feel better. It's not just work so we can have more money, so that we can relax, so that we can enjoy life. It's so that those who come after us are not born with that, and that we can contribute to building a new society, a society that does not necessarily have to come from pain, a society that can start from a position of spirit, a position of love, a place of peace, and a place of hope. And so today, what I want to share with you is a very simple process or an experience where you get to connect with your spirit guides and go back in time to either those family members that you know that have experienced incredible trauma, or to your culture, to your heritage, that you know a bit of a history of that have also went through turmoil, and we can send peace and love to them. When we do that, when we send healing and peace and love to those who came before us, because in the universal sense, time is not linear, it resets it for us. And in essence, it becomes as if we were born into a family that never experienced that, or at least had experienced that to a much lesser degree. So get comfortable, sit up straight and tall, and close your eyes. We're going to do a very short guided meditation where we will send love to those who came before us. We will send gratitude to them for having been born, for having experienced what they have experienced. We will acknowledge that this wasn't easy for them. And we will free them of the pain that got written in their DNA and got passed down to us. And then that will free us as well. All right, so let's begin. If your eyes aren't yet closed, close them and take several deep breaths in and out through your nostrils. Take your attention either to your feet or to your hip area and imagine roots growing out the soles of your feet, or roots growing out from your hips and going deep, deep, deep into the earth, connecting you with the earth and everything in it. So now, if I were to look at you with my third eye, what I would see is a figure of a tiny, tiny person sitting on top of this amazing blue planet with a line of energy that connects you directly to the womb of the earth, directly to Mother Earth. And this connection, we will keep that. This is what will ground us. And this is what will also serve as a way to release out of our body any energy that does not belong to us. Yes, we may have inherited it, but we don't have to keep it. We have inherited it for information purposes. Nature gave us this inheritance so that we have tools and knowledge to survive. But now we don't need it anymore because our present life does not reflect the experience of the past in the same way as it was for them. And now imagine in front of you a screen, a big movie screen. And there's a movie of it about you and your family. And this movie is playing backwards. If you think about those old movies that were on a roll of film that used to spin this way and play the film, now it's spinning backwards. And so you are going back in time. You're becoming younger and younger. And now you're a small child. And now you're inside the womb of your mom. And then your mom is becoming younger and younger. And then she becomes in the womb of her womb. And at one point, maybe it has already for you, this film will stop. And you will end up right in the place where you are to send healing right now. You may end up with a vision of your mom or of your grandma or even of your dad and his parents. Or you may see people wearing clothes from the 1920s, for example, or from the 19th century. Or the film keep going backwards and backwards and backwards to the Middle Ages. Do not be attached exactly to where that film stops. Just let it stop. Wherever it stops, that is where it's meant to be. Just observe what you see on the screen. Whether you see somebody you know or people you don't know. Maybe they're just there looking at you. Maybe they're doing things. Maybe they're sharing a story. Whatever it is that is happening, take your attention to your heart center. And from that heart center, visualize pink light going out from your heart to them. And through that pink light, send them your love. Send them your gratitude for having lived for what they lived, for having born, for having given you life. It doesn't matter whether this particular person has caused you pain. It doesn't matter what they have experienced. What matters is at this point in time, you are fulfilling your soul contract, which is to free them of the anger, of the pain, of the worry, of the experience that they have went through, or that perhaps they have inherited from their bloodline. Send them love, send them gratitude, and tell them that they are free. They no longer have to suffer. Their soul is connected to spirit. Their soul is connected to joy. Their spirit guides are with them. And the same way as your spirit guides are with you right now, whether you see them or not. And these spirit guides too are here helping you. They are sending their energy to the person or people in front of you. Your spirit guides are sending them love. Their spirit guides are sending them love. And as this love spreads through them and all around them, feel them coming apart, like pixelating into small bits and slowly, slowly disappearing into the spirit world. Slowly releasing. It's kind of like when you watch a movie about a person who becomes a ghost and then they disappear. First, they're solid, and then they become see through, and then they spread into little pieces, and then they're there no more. And this is exactly what is happening to the pain and the trauma that those who came before you are carrying. It is free. They are free. They're no longer stuck in that pain loop. Their spirit is connected to source, and their suffering, even it has been acknowledged, but it is no longer needed. You no longer need it. You are not them. The life that you live is not the life that they have lived. And so you, yourself, are also free of that. And more than that, you have just fulfilled an agreement of spirit, agreement that your soul has made before coming into this existence to stop the pain so that you and those who come after you can be free and can enjoy life and can build a new world, a new society. And I thank you for that. There's so much that is happening in the world today, and a lot of it has to do with the trauma that has been passed down to us through generations. And through healing your own small part of the picture, you're healing the world. And you're giving the future generation a chance to experience a different life. So thank you for that. And thank yourself for that as well. And whenever you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. All right, we have about a minute left. And I would love to hear from you. What was your experience? Maybe you can share a little of your story or how you're feeling right now. I'll open up chat so I can see. There we go. Yes, thank you for sharing my free gift. I forgot about that. If you go to my website, dinakleiman.com, I have a free course that will show you how to connect to the team of your spirit guides so that you're no longer alone, so that you have help. So go to dinakleiman.com. And also, if you have a deep-seated trauma, whether it's family trauma, past life trauma, or things that have happened to you in this life, reach out for a healing session and we will work together to clear that. All right. Thank you. Thank you. I'm looking at chat right now. Yeah. Thank you for your kind words. Yeah, the ancestors definitely need healing. And I've done a lot of my ancestral healing and it's been incredibly freeing. So thank you. Thank you for joining. And thank you, Astrid, for creating this space for people to come together and to feel better.
You are so welcome. I know that today, especially on today's day, the equinox, it's such a powerful event. And to be really honest, when I organized it, I didn't even think about it. So, and this is even more powerful, you know, and I look in the chat and there are so many breakthroughs today, which is really, really amazing. And thank you, Dina, for this powerful meditation. So let's go to the next speaker, and that is Elizabeth. Thank you for being here. It is so good to see you again.
Great to see you, Astrid. Thank you so much for inviting me and for this beautiful summit today. This is my favorite topic. This is my
Yes.
favorite topic. So I'm really tickled to be here and to be a part of it. And I just want to back up what you just said about the replays. So if you look at it in terms of the quantum field, we're all in the present moment, whether we're listening to the live or the replay. So the replays are just as powerful as the live. Just so people kind of understand the power of these clearings that everyone's giving. I just wanted to underline that for everyone. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Let me introduce myself really quickly. My name is Elizabeth Kipp. I'm a stress management and historical trauma specialist. I'm a let's see. I'm I'm not seeing myself as I'm trying to get to speaker view here, and I'm not seeing myself as the speaker. All right, I'll just let that go. So I got into ancestral clearing work as a way of working with chronic pain that I had carried for decades, and I happened to run into this work, ancestral clearing, and it was so powerful that I became an ancestral clearing practitioner. So let me share my screen and take you on a little adventure. It'll be similar to there's all kinds of different ancestral healing. I do a specific modality called ancestral clearing, which will be a little bit different than what other presenters have brought. And let me just share my screen. All right, here we go. So, welcome everyone again. I'm honored to share this sacred space with you today. Together we'll explore ancestral clearing and how it can help exit the cycle of suffering and step into the vast field of freedom that's our birthright. Let's just take a breath together. Feel the ground beneath you and the earth supporting you. Feel the breath breathing you. And feel all the support of both the breath and the earth. As we gather, our intention is clear to invite healing, release, and freedom, and for ourselves, our ancestors, and those yet to come. During this presentation, I'll be offering a transformational teachings that are very powerful, and the breakthroughs can be quite penetrating right into the heart. This retreat is a living portal. Here, transformation not only becomes possible, it's part of your reality. Healing rises from deep within. Breakthroughs emerge that touch the very heart of who we are. So often we find ourselves repeating the same struggles, patterns of fear, pain, and conflict. They're not just ours. They echo from the generations that came before us, and without awareness, the cycle continues. But with awareness, we get to choose a new path. Our ancestors live within us, their joys, their struggles, their unresolved pain. They all leave an imprint. This truth is not a burden, it's an invitation. When we shine our light here, we open powerful pathways to healing. When we turn away from ancestral influence, cycles of suffering continue. We may feel blocked, unable to move forward. Our relationships may suffer. Our health can falter. These are signs that we need to look deeper. some of the advantages of releasing ancestral patterns are obviously greater freedom and inner peace. It's kind of hard to understand or really imagine inner peace until you have it. Because we're so used to, at least for me, I was so used to the kind of inner turmoil associated with chronic pain that I had for so long. It was hard for me to imagine inner peace, but I kept working on it little by little, little by little. This work was very powerful as part of that. Also, it brings us a greater connection to the Creator, and we're healing not only for ourselves, but for generations behind us and in front of us. Remember, we're doing this work in the present moment, which allows us to access the past, present, and future all at once. That's why this kind of work is so powerful. Ancestral clearing is a sacred process. We bring awareness to generational patterns. We offer up that which no longer serves us to Source, to the Creator, and we ask the Creator to help us release it. We restore harmony to ourselves, our ancestors, and the Creator that holds us all. This particular modality was pioneered by a man named Howard Wills, and then later further developed by a man named John Newton. I'm one of his practitioners, and I'm bringing in the work, but I bring the work in very much rooted in their work, but also have my own perspective on it. So, how ancestral clearing works is it's a prayer process, and we have an intention that we acknowledge the ancestors and their burdens, and we become willing to offer up that which no longer serves us to the Creator, and we ask the Creator to help us release it. We use the word forgive to mean offer up that which no longer serves us. And let me give you an example of how that maybe worked in my life. So one of the things that was very difficult for me was I have a hot button around my righteous indignation around injustice in the world. It's just, I used to just flare like a fire inside. And ancestral clearing helped me with that button. But here's the thing. Ancestral clearing honors our free will. And I don't want to clear my button around my button around injustice in the world. However, I do want to clear all that indignation around it so that it's not creating a veil that's blocking me from moving forward to what's the next really effective step that I can make around the injustice that I'm seeing, if that makes sense. So when we bring this work in, we're asking Creator to help us release. And we're asking it to help us release that which no longer serves us. It serves me to have, I feel, it serves me to have some kind of a charge around injustice in the world. It helps me be a better citizen. But if I have such a flare around it that I don't know how to act appropriately, or I take a misstep because of the block of the reaction to it, that's where ancestral clearing is very helpful. So that's kind of where free will comes into it. And then there are things like I wasn't able to, I didn't know how to forgive my mother for the stuff that happened when I was really little. And I wanted to, but I didn't know how. And ancestral clearing, what I did was I offered up the pain that I felt, and the resentment and all the stuff around my mom. I asked Creator to please help me release it, and it released. So we're not asking the Creator to take anything from us. We're asking it to help us release. Because if I could have released that stuff around my mom, I would have. I just didn't know how. And this process gives us a way to do that. Some of the benefits that you'll experience are you may release from an old familiar sensation of heaviness. You may notice expanded possibilities in your life. You may experience a greater alignment with your soul's truth, with your you might find an inner peace because you are able to align better with your soul's truth, and you'll find a deeper sense of freedom and belonging. So ancestral clearing helps us exit the cycles of suffering, reclaim our personal power, and live in more peace and flow. Now, I'd like to take you through a guided experience of ancestral clearing. And wherever you are, unless you're driving in a car, you should listen to this later. Like if you're actually driving machinery, using heavy machinery, you listen to this later. Otherwise, sit quietly. If you feel safe to do so, you can close your eyes, but you don't have to. Just notice the sensation you're feeling in the body. Whatever it is. I feel my sitting bones on the chair and my feet on the floor. And I feel a little bit of tingling in the fascia in my back on the right side of my rib cage. And if I had to give all of that sensation that I'm feeling a number from 0 to 10 level of intensity, I'd give it about a 3, maybe the most, maybe a 2.5. Whatever it is for you, just note what it is for you. And stay present the best you can and breathe normally. And just let these words pass over you, remembering that we use the word forgive in the sense of offering up that which no longer serves us, and we offer it up to Creator, or whatever you call that which made creation. Divine Creator, all that you are, thank you for your infinite gifts and blessings. We ask humbly and gratefully that you please help us, all versions of us, all our relationships, and all our ancestors and all of their relationships, throughout all space, time, dimension, realms, lifetimes, and incarnations. For any hurts and wrongs done to us, hurts and wrongs we did to others, whether knowingly or unknowingly, at any time we turned hurt onto ourselves. Please help us all forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please, and thank you. For all the imprints of ancestral trauma from wars, enslavement, genocide, displacement, oppression, or any injustice or other hardship that was never acknowledged, processed, or healed. For all the pain of losing our homeland, our culture, our language, our ways of life, and the grief of being severed from our ancestral identity. For the impact of poverty, famine, deprivation, and economic collapse, and the scarcity mindsets that were born from them. Please help us all to forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please and thank you. For any and all secrets, the betrayals, the hidden shames and unspoken truths that created a legacy of silence, mistrust, and confusion, and how it weighed on us. Please help us all forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please and thank you. For all patterns of abuse, physical, emotional, spiritual, sexual, or financial, and any empathic hurts and wrongs, repeated across generations without acknowledgement, justice, or repair. Please help us all to forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please and thank you. For all abandonment wounds, for the pain of exile, when we or our ancestors were cast out from the community, the family, or belonging in any other way for who we were or what we believed. When parents, caregivers, or loved ones were physically, emotionally, or spiritually unavailable or left altogether. For survival-based parenting, when fear, control, and trauma shaped the way we were raised as children, leaving love conditional or absent altogether. Please help us all forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please, and thank you. For all the burden we carry from religious persecution, distortion, or control, and for when spiritual authority was used to punish, manipulate, or separate us from the truth. Please help us all to forgive one another and forgive ourselves. Please and thank you. For all patterns of addiction in the lineage, substances, work, control, food, money, or relationships that numbed pain but deepened suffering. For the wounds of medical trauma, injury, chronic illness, or mistreatment that broke trust in the body, in healing, or in the systems meant to care for us. Please help us all forgive one another and forgive ourselves, release one another and release ourselves. Please and thank you. For all relational betrayal trauma, infidelity, abandonment, and emotional neglect, and for the patterns of mistrust they imprinted in our families and in us. For all enmeshment, codependency, and blurred boundaries where individuality was unsafe or punished. For the wounding of patriarchal oppression where women's voices, rights, and sacred gifts were silenced, devalued, persecuted, or erased altogether. Please help us all to forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please and thank you. For every time grief was avoided, denied, or forbidden to be expressed, leaving it frozen in our hearts and carried forward, and for the generations of unspent tears that followed down the lineage to us, for all intergenerational shame, for the masks we wore, the truths we hid, and the self-worth that was diminished across generations. Please help us all forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please and thank you. For every time our sacred connection to the Creator was lost, blocked, or replaced with fear, control, or other limiting beliefs about who we truly are, please help us all to forgive one another and forgive ourselves. Please and thank you. For the times we hardened and armored our hearts to the world because of what happened to us, for all it meant to us, about ourselves, others, the community, life, and even you, Creator, and for the times we lost faith in ourselves, turned our backs on others and you, Creator, and for the times others turned their backs on us and lost faith in us. Please help us all forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please, and thank you. For any time we acted in such a way that we lost compassion for ourselves, judged ourselves as unforgivable, for any time others lost compassion for us and held unfailing resentment toward us, for any time we were unable to release our unhealthy attachments to the past, please help us all to forgive one another and forgive ourselves, please, and thank you. Please help us to release each other and ourselves for all that happened, no matter what it was, for once and for all. Please and thank you. Please help us to know deeply and always for ourselves the love that we are, experience its constancy, and feel ourselves expand into its vast, infinite field. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Please and thank you. Now just take a nice big breath in and let it out. And just notice, is the breath any different? How does your heart feel? Notice your overall state of well-being. Did anything shift for you? Please know that you're not alone on this journey. Healing is here for you, for your family, for the whole world. This is the gift of ancestral work. It belongs to all of us. The body houses ancestral knowledge. So, when we practice ancestral healing, we heal our neurobiology, our physiology, and we also heal our relationships with the ancestors, the land, and the Creator. So this is a collective experience. Thank you so much for opening your hearts and joining me in this sacred exploration. May you walk forward lighter, freer, and rooted in the blessing of your ancestors. Let me stop sharing. And I have a free gift of a booklet of ancestral clearing prayers, which I'd love for you to get. Also, I do group ancestral clearings once a month online, and I do private ones like almost every day, so online as well. So I'd love for you to connect with me. You can when you grab the free gift, you can sign up for my newsletter and learn all about what I'm up to. And thank you so much for listening. Astrid, thank you so much for this beautiful gathering today. The perfect timing. Not only do we have the eclipse and the new moon, it's International Peace Day. So like you got a triad going there. It's amazing.
Yes, yes. Without knowing, right? This is always, there are no coincidences and there are no accidents. There are always a reason in something happening, and you never know what is doing it for others.
That's right. We never know. I'm just checking the chat here.
Prayer was amazing. Yes, please do so, because it was really, really deep. I don't know if you guys here, please in the chat, let us know. Have you had any kind of sensations in your body during this beautiful forgiveness prayer? Because for me, it just exploded in my solar plexus. It was really amazing.
That's beautiful. Now that we would look at that as the power center. So you had a clearing, whatever was blocking your power, girl. Now you're going to stand in it. That's awesome. I see DW. So we know each other from John's ancestor clearing training. That's John Newton of healthbeyondbelief.com. If you guys are interested in learning how to do the process, healthbeyondbelief.com is John who teaches that. Let's see. And then Vanessa G says, thank you so much, Elizabeth. When you said loss of homeland, I just started crying my eyes out. And I know deeply that these are tears that were never shed and were passed down. This is the beauty of the work. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for sharing that with us and for stepping in and allowing yourself to release this stuff. It's just beautiful. Mm-hmm. Selena says, I felt upset and wanted to cry. I feel like everything was dumped on me by my ancestors and I have to heal everything. But who's healing me? Oh, I love that question. You know, I love that question so much. I had an experience with my inner child. I really wanted to get talking to my inner child some years ago, and the way that it was going down was like she kept hiding in the closet and she wouldn't come out to play. And I was like, what's happening here? And it took a while, but I finally was able to get her out of the closet. And I said, get out of the closet, I want to talk to you. And she said, I've had your back your whole life. And I was like, you've had my back, who's had yours? and that was a beautiful moment because we recognized one another, we acknowledged one another, and we just decided to move forward together. And that would be what I would ask of you, would be to consider you're not actually alone in the burden, that you carry it with your ancestors and they're right there with you. So you're doing this work together, and look at all the people in our collective right now that are also doing the work. So we're doing this in community. So we're all healing one another and healing together. We actually, from a trauma point of view, we're traumatized in relationship. And so we heal in relationships. So it's very important that we recognize that. Yeah. just to add, Vanessa says, when I was little, I have always felt like I wanted to go home. In fact, I would sob as a child because I wanted to go home. During this experience, it was shown to me that so much of that is pain from my ancestors because they wanted to go home. Yeah. So we do carry that, but we don't have to hold on to it. That's the beauty of the work. Thanks so much, Astrid. Thank you, everyone.